And good evening, all. This is Dylan. I have Dylan Russell, and I have an opportunity for an unscheduled broadcast. So, therefore, I figured I would play some Minecraft and maybe do a little bit of streaming. Maybe. We'll see. So, the plan for today is just a little bit more of diggy hole. But before we do diggy hole, there is, well, hill, I guess. There is an opportunity to take care of some business that we haven't dealt with. Our ship needs a name. Well, not ship, the boat thing needs a name. So I want to get that done. I want to put the banners together for that, get them onto the ship, and then we'll come back and dig some dirt. In the meantime, pause for a sec and get ourselves some tunes. We need some music. Here we go. Hopefully that'll work. And yeah. If it's pretty quiet, that's cool. It's just gonna be you, me, and the trees. We're all good. Alright. When one has an opportunity, you just use it. Look and see. And we have dirt. More dirt. Go. I want to get rid of some of these pieces, because otherwise I will carry them around, and you don't really need the for doing... Nope, that's not it. This one. We're doing banners. Yes. Not needing those for banners. Might want some sticks. Might as well get rid of those while we're at them. Need anything else? Not at the moment. Okay. So some stuff needs repairing anyway. Might as well take a quick break to do that, because my Pro pickaxe is in a little bit of a hurt box. So first things first, back to base. I have. Ugh. What? Maybe. La 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 la. Hello, pig. Hello, pig. I am crossing my fingers and hoping the announcements go live correctly. If they do, excellent. If they don't, excellent as well. Because Twitch be twitchy. It does what it wants. Twitch apparently has a permit. So Twitch can do what it likes. No, honestly, I don't remember there being a tree there. I wonder if it's a matter of the self-planting trees. Oh, right. No sheep. So let's start off. I'll pick that up, I guess. Let's see what... Oh. What do we got going in here? Okay, I'm gonna need some... Oh. Do we have any ink? Hope I have ink. I don't really go swimming. Okay, 40. That's gonna be tight. I don't think it's gonna be enough. Have to find out. If not, we'll go blubbering some squids. We're good at that. Maybe. We have squids to clobber. It has just occurred to me that I could probably, rather than building the banners, I could probably trade for them. That would be, you know, sensible, but I don't believe... It's trading stuff anyways. I don't believe I have the materials for it to... Guys, white banners? Nope. Do you do white banners? No, you do blue ones. No good. You do white ones. No? I don't even know why I asked. How about you? Nope. Okay, so... Yes, we need some white banners. 12. We're gonna need 12 banners, and I got 9. And I'm short a little bit of wool. We'll grab some more. Good evening, Dub. Hopefully you guys are having a good evening, and good evening to you too, Zerk. Sorry for not letting you guys know in advance that I was going to be streaming. It kind of surprised me. So, yeah. Opportunity arose, and that's... goes, I guess. 11, 12. Go. I have more sticks than I can shake a stick at. No bad puns intended. So let's just get those traded out. That one needs work. Don't really care about the shovels. Let's put away this. Not quite enough for 2 trades. Not worth it. But yeah, this evening's plan is just do up some banners, get those installed, and then a little bit more of that diggy, as Zerky may have seen on Thursday. But priority 1 is to get the name on the ship, just to get it out of the road. So we're doing letter banners today. Not exactly my forte, but we will make it work. Okay, so first off, we need solid banners. Oop, what are we doing? I got the ink. I didn't hear any. No, thank you. That. Up here. Ink up there. Now let's hope I don't mess this up. The white banner first one, I want to go. We need 2. Oops, no, I need 12 of these. Wow. That would be a big boo-boo. Okay. 4. We're doing 2 signs, and then there's 2 Ks on each one of them. So I need 4 like that. Oh, and I forgot the white. Shoot, that's going to cause a problem. Give me a second. Grab some white dye or some bone meal. So, how has everybody been keeping? I know that the Zerks have had house company, and I know that Dynamites have just been very, very busy people altogether, but hopefully your world's been treating you relatively well. Nobody's sick or anything like that. Oh, we might have some. Excellent. Okay, let's make some dye. That should be enough to get us rolling. So the ship name that we're going to go with tonight is the Karnak. The reason being is that the Ss Sudan that we have been sort of basing the design off of for the ship, for the boat itself, or whatever, the design for the boat itself inspired in turn the fictional ship, the Karnak, in Agatha Christie Book Death on the Nile. So now we've got to try and figure out how to get the name on there. I decided to use the fictional name because no, wrong end. Because that allows us to not have anything quite like the book. That works out well. I'm hoping that this will work. Crossing my fingers. That's going to look a little weird, but I'll go with it. And that we go. Doable. It's not great, but it's doable. I'll go with it. That. And then we want a white border around the whole thing. Make it look a little bit nicer. You do. There it is. Oh, whoops. Well, I may, actually I'm going to skip this for now because I may fix it differently by thickening up the vertical line, but I don't want to mess with it and run out of squid ink. So let's get the other letters done first. We need 4 A's as well. 1, 2. Try and get these right. A's. I'm following some steps I found on the net, and I'm hoping this will look half decent. So far so good. I mean, A's usually aren't hard. That across the center. An H, that's pretty cool. 8 per half. Nice. I like. Alright. A. And then we want to border around the outside to make it look sharp. 1. So, in case anyone's curious, it's K-A-R-N-A-K. So, put that down here. K-A-R-N-A-K. That. So we just need the R and the N. With the R is a smidge more complicated, not by much. I'm going to go with the upper half. Not white. Not white. White on white would be silly. Doesn't look right to me. Start with that, and then I can always redo it if I have to. Okay. And then back in here. 1. Oh, that's gonna be weird. Okay, well, right. Okay. Black. Banners are never my forte, but there's a lot that isn't, so I'm not gonna argue with it. Okay. Oh, whoops. Well, back up here. And then middle. Something doesn't look quite right. What did I miss? Oh, I see what I did wrong. Okay. So these need to be trashed. Start again. Before I do that, this. And try it again. Okay, so we've got. Or how many do we need? That's not going to be enough ink either. So I blew it on a few of them. But now I need to go for some squids. Squid death, yay! Oh, 12:50 a.m. Nope, not at this hour. Squids and drowns and everybody on the shore, not mine. I get a good time. That respawn in here. Yoink. Go. Oops. Out for squids. Good choppage. That way is probably faster. Or kitties. Not this time. Let's hope I have squids today. Sometimes I don't. Well, squidless at the moment. That's not good. It's squidless in Seattle, except we're not in Seattle. Ah, there we are. There we are. Wait. Go. Hello. Two. That's it. That stinks. Got a few. Oh, well, there's where the squids are. Patience. Bye-bye patience. Maybe. I'm a good hat. Long. I can actually swim straight. Good evening, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Did not expect you to be here this evening. I hope your day went well at work. I have a chance yet to ask you how that went. I knew how one of your meetings went, but the other one, not so much. Are you stuck? Stuck, that's good for me. Where are you? Oh, no, not good for me up there. Right. Turn around. Any more's good, but I have 35 ink. If I can't finish the banners in 35 ink, pretty poor banner maker. Although I originally thought I could do them in 40, so maybe that's not the case. Okay, so it's Friday. Does anybody have great big plans for the weekend? Or tiny plans, or any sort of plans? We've got kids' soccer tomorrow and Sunday. Other than that, I can't think of any major plans. I may get out to the garden and actually decide to put something in. It's late, but we had a very delayed spring up here, so a lot of our garden centers are saying that it's actually not a big deal, but everybody's having the same sorts of problems. Let's try. So let's go with the black over here, and I want not the top one, but I want the top half. This one. Two of those. I'm gonna take it back up. Diagonal stripe. I always have the wrong names on them, I think about it. But if I can get it to work, I don't really care what I call it. Okay. Half. See where they're going with it and why I screwed up. But black again. Got the narrow one. And there we go. And then the black. Not that one, but I want maybe this. There. And the center. Excellent. Now I just the white border. Or not. Aha! So there are limit steps. Okay, well. Okay. You'll make do. So, these, those. I just blanket. No. You know what? I know how to get rid of these, but because I have tons of supplies, I really don't care. I'm gonna make two more. I know this won't take the whole 2 hours to do, or approximately whatever we get in there, but it's definitely a little different than just simply digging the whole time. Okay, so let's try an N. Need two of those. Here's hoping. Okay. There. This, in theory, should be straightforward. Because this is. Okay. Two of those. One. Black. White. Oh. Sorry for all the spam in the channel. That's my mistake. Oh, I see where we're going. This one. Black. Those, and the vertical stripe on the right. That. And in theory, if it will let me. There we go. Got K-A-R-N-A-K, but the K's look really weird. So I wonder when to for see if it will let me that. Wrong side. Yeah. This. And then the border. Not a huge fan of how that looks compared to the other ones. Those two out. Let's see how this looks without the fix. Ugh. Yeah, it does need that fix. Shame. Okay, well, that's fine. Half. This. And then we do the white frame. So we've got K-A-R-N-A-K. Now the R's really do need the white frame, but unfortunately I've got 6 pieces on here. And the steps that I was using insisted on 7. But that's okay. No way! Tells banner shop. I have to look these up every time. Okay, will it still let me do it the classic way? Without it? Nope. Nope, so we have funny looking R's. That's okay. It'll have to do. We get to go deliver. And we're gonna come back and I have to remember what that was for. Give me 1 sec to look that one up. Well, welcome on in, Raiders. Thank you very much, Manky Hamster. Glad to see you. Welcome aboard. What were you up to this evening? Please do tell. I gather it was probably Minecraft, but not really sure. Wow. Yeah. So, thank you very much for the follow, Dancing Koi. That's a pretty awesome name. I like that one. Oop, we're almost at bedtime. Okay. So this evening, I'm starting out with night or thunderstorms. Oh, just a few more minutes. Okay. Over yonder, which I will show you in just a minute, I have a couple of very, very large. Thank you very much, Violet. Pleased to have you as a follower. I have a couple of very large statues over there, and that's odd. Sorry about that, Maggie Hamster. I suppose that they just can't spell it correctly. So I've made a couple of updates to my bot, and apparently it doesn't know what to do with things where it doesn't have the answer. So yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of the pronouns portion of that. That looks rather ugly. Anyway, before I do that and derail everybody, so where are we today? Sounds cool. Wow. Let me a quick second to scroll back because too much junk and I missed what you'd said you're up to. On the Limitless server, terraform an island around futuristic towers. Awesome! Yeah, the terraforming I do is pretty bland and vanilla, but you know, we're gonna get there. I'll show you real quick. He, him. Excellent. So I will get that noted, and then we will get those updated for next time so that it doesn't actually give us problems. So anyway, yeah, so I've updated my bot. It's now including pronouns work, and it's supposed to pull from a particular website. The kicker about that is that not everybody's put it in there. So, you know, I kind of wish that if it had nothing in there, that it would leave the pronouns argument blank, but it decided not to be quite so cooperative. We've built these large statues, and oh, and I fell off the edge. And this pseudo paddle steamer. I say pseudo because it doesn't actually have wheels to go anywhere. I decided it didn't really need them, but it's mostly functional in terms of actually having all the parts. So it's got rooms and it's got beds in the rooms and so on for spacing reasons. There we go. And it's referencing one of my favorite mystery books by Agatha Christie called Death on the Nile. It could just be that the way my system pulled them, I screwed something up in the update yesterday because I just did it. I did it sort of half before stream and like 90% of everything else after stream. And the pronouns thing looked like it was cooperating, but it might have actually gone belly up for all I know. Okay, so I'm using StreamerBot just in case we're curious on that front. And while I like it, and VR Flad has done some absolutely fantastic work with the updates, like as in helping people fast track their updatings to get all kinds of cool tools. The disadvantage, oops, come on boat. Well, that'll work. The disadvantage is that, stop hopping. Oh, well, there we go. Move this one. Deep breath. Here. The disadvantage to the updates being as they are is that it just takes forever and a day to get them all tweaked just right. You know, that's the nature of any new bot. A lot of people like Stream Elements, and I found that it was limiting in what I wanted to do. We just didn't have the right usages for what I had wanted to do with it. When I found StreamerBot and it lets me do a lot of funky things, then that's where I went with. For example, we can do silly things like a first reward, or King of the Hill, or yeah. I've got Lego redeems and stuff like that on there too, which is not the same. Okay. AAR. I have absolutely no idea where that other one went. Too bad. Yeah. When I first saw your name, I'll admit, it was a little... When you followed me, it seemed a little sus, so I was like, I don't know, and I went and checked your... just checked out your channel and watched a few minutes of VOD and went, yep, I'm in. This guy's cool. This guy's cool. I will be perfectly honest, though, just in the spirit of openness. I'm actually still somewhat gobsmacked in that I'm a new enough streamer that's still feeling my way around this stream sphere, so to speak. And that means that I'm always surprised when people bother to come back. I think it's cool. I feel spoiled and, well, I guess blessed, if I must use a word. But, I appreciate it. In any case, yeah, I just feel really spoiled when people bother to come back, so this is cool, and I'm really glad. But I did look at the name, and I'm like, Manky Hamster. That has so many possibilities with it, both positive and negative. So it took me a second to catch on. The idea of a raid of hamsters, though, just in a visual, is pretty cool. Like, just... I used to work for a pet store years ago, and we're talking like 20 years ago, when I was the shift supervisor. And so it was really mildly funny because I got actually admit to having an image in my head when you raided, and it was actually of a horde of little teddy bear hamster babies, just all like coming at you like a little wall from across the side of their pen. So yeah, this season's streams or base theme, somewhat eclectic. And is my drowning is too. This season's base theme is somewhat eclectic. It's sort of I decided to do a theme of all, or as many as I could, builds related to mystery books. Some of my favorite mystery characters by some of my favorite mystery authors. And result of that was that it ended up with a weird collection of things. So, not all of them are actually visible, but super duper quick tour. So here's the back end of a very large train for Agatha Christie again with Detective Hercule Poirot, and that one was Murder on the Orient Express. Okay, so we've got a B-box because I'm an absolute huge fan of Sherlock Holmes, and not fanatic, just a fan. From a distance, I guess that ship name looks okay. Anyway, and then go with journey map. You can see we are quite tiny. There's our two statues. Each of those is probably about 54 blocks high, or layers high, so I did not want to go too much bigger than that one. The train across the center, you can see, is quite long. That's why you can't see all of it at once. Big. And then the end of what you're seeing, this weird little thingamajig, is actually a large magnifying glass, once again for Sherlock Holmes. And then to go with the mystery book theme, hard to see, but the shape that we've got here from the side, it's actually my trading hall, and a full half of that is librarians. And there's a double reference there, but the major part is just a big library book for just mystery book kind of concept, a library kind of reference. Whereas the other side of that is sort of a tongue-in-cheek reference to another Agatha Christie novel called I think it's Death in the Library, or I think it's Death in the Library. And that one is for a character by the name of Jane Marple, Miss Jane Marple, a senior who gets her nose kind of embroiled and everything. She's one of those people that some people would call it a busybody. Other people would say that she's just one of those people that happens to be in the right place at the right time and is approachable enough that people try to trust her. And they'll tell her all kinds of things because they think that she won't be able to do anything with the information. But as anybody in a security industry will be able to tell you, that enough innocuous pieces of information mixed together, you start getting a picture you can do something with. Yeah. Can I reach it? R. I will just finish these two off, and then I'll probably come back and make another one another day, because all this running back and forth. We'll see. Kind of bugging me that it's left unfinished, though, so that I don't know. I might just take that spare one back and go and do that. N. A. All it needs is another A right in there. And leave this nice and spawnable. Okay. Get that done because it's going to bother me, and one of these days I'm going to be running around doing something and I'll find the thing. So the full name of the ship was SS for steamship. Oh, and there's the A right there. SS for Steamship Karnak. Karnak. So without rehashing too much of the previous history that we've been through, the Karnak is a fictional steamship that ran on the River Nile, but it's based really heavily off of an actual steamship that ran in the Nile called the Ss Sudan, which was written by Agatha Christie. I can't remember if it was 1934 or if it was 28. Anyways, irrelevant. But the point of it was that she rode on this steamship and had a blast, riding along the Nile, because she was living in Egypt at the time, married to her archaeologist husband, one of those like well-to-do archaeologists who pay for their own trips, and they took this steamship trip. Plus, she had met him in Egypt because she and her mother had moved to Egypt for her mother's health. Apparently, it was too wet in England, so they moved to Egypt. Yes, there we are. So that's the Karnak. So that's the reference there. Yeah, and then so the block is for Sherlock Holmes because he supposedly retired to the Sussex Downs to raise bees. So that one came there. No, that's okay. You're totally. Ooh, mycelium. Yeah, a bit of a mess there. No, that's okay if you're quiet. I mean, you're welcome to hang out and lurk, or if you need to raid and run, that works too. Number 1 is your health, and then number 2 is getting things done that you were in the middle of. If you do manage to tame the Mycelium Menace, maybe I'll come for tips one of these days. I just had a standing in the savannah, had a nice time. You know, everything looks great. I mean, far too orange. Including the dark oak, far too orange. Anyway. And I've got podzol, because I decided I was going to cut down some spruce and just haven't bothered digging up the podzol yet. The boat is a bit of a failed trip. For one of the adventures we had on a recent stream weekend, I decided to try a raid farm. Yeah, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. But anyway, I had at one point decided I was going to boat the villagers out there, completely forgetting that the path blocks versus grass makes a difference. So there's a bit of a janky path that goes off in the direction. And we ended up with a lovely little raid farm. Nice one on the ground. Mostly functional. Sometimes it's a little slow to get through a raid, but it does actually get through. So I'm not super bothered by that because I like it. I like swiping the characters at the knees because it's cathartic, you know? Got a rough day, just going, and that lovely swish sound is something just chop to the knees is great. So yeah. And then here's a now ghost town. That was the ghost town that I started out with on the weekend because this spot here used to be a pillager tower. So yeah, I ran past that and then got followed, of course, took out the captain, yada yada yada, started a raid. I'm a noob. Let's put it that way. I've been playing for multiple years, but had never actually dealt with a raid head on in an unprotected village before. Won't do it again, was to say. So this one was a bit of an adventure. PP Zerk, and Zerk specifically, who you saw on stream. Zerk jumped online because he's a member of this server as well, and he basically cleaned up after my mess. Yes. I've not yet been over there a lot in person. I've completely forgot what was in that hole, so I have to take a look. But yeah, you live and you learn. So this server, as you can see from the top, maybe, if I can get out of there, I'm going to just head back and start getting ready for preparing. Anyways, this server, as you can see, is actually part of the 3-server set owned and operated by Dadcraft73, and he has one for Java, one for modded, and one for Bedrock, all Minecraft. He does not play on them himself, but he does pop on once in a blue moon for a tour or whatever, so it's not a huge deal. Brought stuff to repair with, and nothing to actually get be with. And let's start by just grabbing another cheap pick that we have here. Nope, that's not the tool guide. These are the tool guides. What do we have? Efficiency 2. Efficiency 2. And 1. Really not so useful. 2's not great. Let's just grab a couple of picks. We need them, but combine them up. New costume. 21, sure, why not? Junk. I don't think I need efficiency. It is a bit of a waste. Just for fill up. 3, okay. Do some pick combining before we get out of here. 2. not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. A few junk throwaway picks. Leave them there for a minute. And I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. No, I'm not going to trade wool. I know I could zombify and cure my villagers, but haven't. Oh, yeah. And at some point I'll rename the horse in there. That was another relic from the raid adventure. The other oopsie adventure over there. Then sometimes I have a shake my head moment because I do things on a whim real quick at the behest of somebody else's advice and then forget that their advice was out of date. So yeah, that's why I have a drowned in my iron farm. Yeah, not so swift. No, Dylan, she's not so swift some days. Okay, let's just get these extra heads out of here because we want to go from head bin. Not head bin's over here. My junk bin too. Yeah, okay. Junk to be destroyed or dealt with up there. The excess banners. Oh, I gotta wait one. Okay. And I put blown blocks. Yeah, blown blocks away. Oh right, sticks and trade. Sure. And grab some more scaffolding. Up. What do I have in here? Food? Anything I need? No. Okay, dies out, and then we'll go repair and we're out of here. Oh, don't either.
And now for something completely different.
Yippee! So this is something completely different. So I will see you in just a quick moment over at my Lego desk. Sorry about that. So first off, you will see a mess on the desk. Just a quick brush. Yeah, there we go. The mess on the desk. We are working on a Harry Potter Lego set called Hogwarts Fluffy Encounter. And I'll just see if they have a good picture of it on the front. Yeah. So we've got ourselves a good half-decent picture. And we've thus far built Fluffy, our little Fluffy character himself, with the drooly faces and all. And then we've got most of the major crew. We've got Harry and Ron. And then this round we're going to build Hermione. And we've also got a large chunk of the building of the room with trapdoor where Fluffy was protecting it. So yeah, there's Lego for you. So we're starting our third and final bag. And as usual, the first thing they want you to do is to put together the character we have. So we've got Hermione, and as a lot of this series does, they have dual-sided heads. So it's kind of hard to see. In this light. But we've got Hermione's got a happy face on one side and a not very impressed face on the other side. And I'm going to use the unimpressed face because it's the Fluffy encounter after all. Plus, it's not my first Lego set with Hermione in it. Therefore, I tend to like to have one with the smiley faces and then one where it's just all her upset, chaotic face collection. But at the moment, I'm just going to set this one down because I did not. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was going to say I did not null sort the bag, and I was having problems finding her legs. They've made these characters the short ones, so they don't actually have legs that could bend and run. And apparently, there's been some greasy fingers in here. They look like chips. Okay. In any case, oh, there's her wand. Now, they come with two wands, and I don't usually take them apart, but if the wand set does separate when I'm just snapping them into the... Oh, there we go. If they snap into the character's hand, then I just set the spares aside and tuck them away safely for later. So we have the trio all together finally. Okay, so on this third bag, looks like we're going to be starting with a big, grate-shaped base plate. It looks like we're going to be building a tower section to work with. So we've got that one, and then we start with a 2x1 with a couple holes in it. And this doesn't go on very long. For some of our some of our newest friends, just to fill them in, is that I've got the Lego option as a points redemption, but I also use it very briefly when we have server restarts. I usually stream during the mornings, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I do Minecraft, we just so happen to have a server restart right smack in the middle of my 2-hour time slot. So it just works out conveniently because they reboot the server every 12 hours. So that works well for other people. And I just figured I would take a Lego break in the middle, and then sometimes it actually helps for incentive on redemptions. Okay, now we need, it's going to look kind of like one of these pieces, except it's got to be 2 pieces wide, and I'm sure I'm going to see it after I put things down. You know, that's how it always goes. Because I need one of those, and I found the little green wedge. It's supposed to go on top of it. One of the things that I do, I usually sort, but this one I actually opened up before I started stream. But one of the things I often do as well is sometimes I'll borrow from my kids' Lego, and then I will give it back later if I can't find what I'm looking for. However, at this point, that wouldn't be a great idea because they're on a completely different floor. Oh, I have no idea where I put that piece. Well, no, that's not it. I've seen them, and I've got tan versions of them, but I don't have the gray one. This is odd. Okay. Well, I'm sure that I will see it just before I was going to quit, and that's how it always goes. So I did find the 2x2 with the correct piece we needed, and then I put the little green, it's like an olive drab wedge that just goes in the corner. What it's for is yet to be revealed because I can't quite tell from the picture they gave me. That just wedges on the side there. Often in a redeem, if it's a few steps with a few different things going on, then I'll just do one of the little 2-page spreads in the manual step. And then I take a look at the next one to see what they got going on there. Not a whole ton there, so I think I will leave it for this step. But what we've got so far is we started with a little base. We've got a peg that's probably going to be a link spot so that the tower can link on to the main room. And then we've got a little green wedge. So yeah, that's where we leave it for now. See you back at the other table. And we are back. I'm just scooching my way back in. All right. So let's do a little bit of repair. Taking a break from virtual building to physically build. Yes, indeed. But excuse me, just 1 second. I have a bit of an itchy nose, so I just want to deal with that, and then I'll be right back. I rushed a game through earlier this week. I rushed the end of Riven because I was getting really tired of the number of mistakes I was making. And unfortunately, that did not bode well in the end. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. Yeah. Can't win them all. Okay, so I've got a few emeralds left. I don't particularly need anything from here, but I've been slowly supplying a bookshop. So, bookshop and enchanting station. More for practice than anything else. And I had never actually built with redstone for doors before, like to make a hidden door system. That was my fun this time around. Yeah, it looks like the mic button had a bit of a delay when I bumped it. I think I must have, I don't know, done something to it when I stopped for the nose scratch. Okay. Spare books. Oh, right. Sticks. Right. I brought the sticks for a reason. Let's just get rid of these. Are you stick man? Yes, man. Yay. What I was going to say is that I am well aware that I can zombify and cure these guys, but I have not, on the basis of the idea that I just felt like it's sort of overpowered and cheaty to be able to get stuff that easily anyhow. So I figured I needed to put in some level of effort to make things feel more, I don't know, achieved, maybe? Because if everybody can get everything for like one emerald for anything, then yeah, too easy. Far too easy. But get 5 blocks out of that, save some space. There we go. Right. Throwaway shovel, that's okay. There. Put my good shovel, oh right, in there, okay. Never mind, yeah, we're good. So let's just put this away. I didn't fully repair the pick, but, it will do. It will do. This diamond axe, that's a throwaway axe. There's the good shovel, okay. Throwaway axe, place half decent. Yeah, I think that'll do. Alright. So we are off to flatten some more. Flatten. And while we head over there, I'll just quickly show you, actually maybe let's go over there first. I can see better if I don't have too many things up on the screen. So I have quite a liking for Harry Potter Lego and Harry Potter in general. The shirt's a bit of a giveaway. It actually says Gryffindor on it. That's one of my Gryffindor shirts. And we're standing on the corner of what is going to be some pixel art for one of my other favorite characters, and that is a Shrewsbury monk from the Benedictine order, fictional, from about the early 1100s, I guess. 1130s-ish in particular. And although Shrewsbury Cathedral is actually a real place, the monk is not. So, yeah. But it's a series by an author named Ellis Peters, pseudonym of another lady named Edith Pargeter. So I don't know why anybody ever really cared, simply because I don't think I've ever read any of her books that were under her original name. So, to me, they might as well be 2 different people. But for quick reference, I mean, this is a big plateau. We're looking at a space that is about 150. Oops, where am I? Over here. Go. You can barely see in white. It doesn't. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. It doesn't fully show on the screen, but we're about 150 by 150. I've looked at the ups and downs and so on along the edges of this map space, and they go as low as about 68. So I just figured, rather than making everybody climb up super high or only be able to see it via elytra, the main part of the art is going to be at Y70. However, we are standing at Y88 at the moment. So we've got a ways to go. There's a bit of a cliff face on this side, which goes into the hole on there, which is about Y68 at the bottom. So we've got a little filling in to do as well. I'm not worried about filling in all the caves underneath or anything like that, and I could just cap it off, but I think if I end up with excess dirt and rock from taking this down, why not just flatten it off solidly, that I don't have to worry about things existing beneath the map. So the reference picture, before we get started here, is 5 references. This one. There we go. As you can see over my head, we've got a sort of semi-stained glass window type picture, which is showing the 3 sections of the main character's life. So on the left, he was a crusader. Then in the center, he was part of the monastery. Had gone to monastic life after the crusading, turned in his sword kind of thing, and was a herb specialist, which then meant, of course, he was able to make medicines and healing salves and stuff to help the sick. But then it also doesn't directly reference, but can be extended to think of that the character gets very heavily involved in a lot of wrongful death situations and different people getting blamed for things. So he more or less gets dragged into it, I guess you could say. Oro's pickaxe. So that out of the road and put one of the throwaways in there. That's part of why I've got a beacon. Thank you very much to the Zerks. I don't do... What do you call it? I don't do withers very well. Something about them just gives me the willies. And resulting effect is that I don't really have, or didn't have a beacon for the longest time. And I kind of made a boo-boo, but in streaming, there was a time, I'm a bit of a hoarder, but I'm also a bit of a, what's the word? Bullheaded individual? Yes, probably. Where I intend to try and use up tools I have rather than destroy the lower-ended ones. But I think on stream was probably the last straw when I decided to go mining very large quantities of terracotta with a whole pile of stone axes and dig up sand with stone shovels. So yeah. Mysteriously, I got a DM on Discord saying, do you realize you could actually turn on the beacon in the area? Somebody already had a beacon out there. Oh, lovely. Not high on my list. What have we got in here? Please tell me my emergency has. Better have some milk in it. Yes, 1 bucket of milk. You're good. Are golden. Okay. Okay. Time for some pot shots. Yes? Go hide underneath? Okay, well. Not this way. I will just clobber you. That's all there is to it. Want some fun? Guys want some fun? Come here. Back here. Bye. You. 1 down. See how much of a porcupine I look like at the end of this. Oh. Well, that's interesting. So it looks like one of them despawned, and strangely enough, it was the captain. That's different. I thought he fell in a hole, in which case, I'll just laugh. Hi Ross. How are you doing today? I don't think I've seen you here in ages, and pleased to have you. Maybe it was the boat. Maybe the boat was just asking for Ross to come by. No, actually, Zerk, I did see a captain. That's part of why I went looking for milk, was to see, because there's a captain standing right over near this hole. And then by the time I started to shoot at them, the captain seems to have just vanished. So I really expected I'd see him show up, particularly after I started clobbering everybody else, but no. No need, apparently. Put that back in the emergency box. My iron has not been replenished in the emergency box. I have to get around to that, but a few things in there. I've got enough iron to make stuff with if I had to. Throw some more sticks in there. Yeah. We are good to go. Bedtime. I'm doing that. So, yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. In all honesty, I don't know if I've seen you in here in months, Ross, so that's perfectly okay. It's more of a pleasant surprise as opposed to anything owed at all. No problem. Nope, no problem. I've been pretty good. Bad behavior, but, you know, pretty good overall. Pull out these so that if something comes up, not quite as easy for me to get knocked off. One. Oh, nope. There we go. I'm really proud of this today. Good junk. There we go. Some days I can stack them like no tomorrow. Other days I just can't. Because I do that to it. Which one is that? Oh, well, thank you for, thank you, Ross, for that. I really, really appreciate it. I made the mistake of just hiding my activity feed in behind something else. So I'm just going to move it. Move the act. Hello? Locked UI. There we go. Move the activity feed so I can actually see it. There we go. Well, thank you very much for the resub. I'm spoiled by that. It's actually funny. My husband and I were talking about it just the other day. Fantastic Sherlock Fox is my husband, for those who don't know. And we were talking about it just the other day that he isn't subbed to me yet. It was just one of those ones where we didn't think it was financially sensible. But different things have come up where things like I didn't yet have the access to be able to put in follower emotes. That's definitely on the radar. But I didn't have the access to do that. And so there's little things like he isn't able to use my hype emote just yet. So it's one of those things we wanted to fix. And so we were discussing the most financially smart way to do that, to get everything done. Yeah, that one. That one, PP. I actually have asked my daughter to help me with an update to that one, because at the moment, I think I've mentioned on stream what it is, but because it's small, it's hard to see. Apparently, it's supposed to be a wide-bodied jeb sheep, because there is a little teeny tiny head up top there, but it's difficult to see that, partly because it's so small, and so it actually, to me, looks more like she's given me a woolly toque, or woolly hat, which is very sus in itself. Yeah. The Futurama remotes are amazing. You know, those are really cool. And I think I'm going to keep that one because half the stuff that I do or people talk about around here is pretty sus. Totally suspect. But that's part of it, is I'm looking forward to figuring out what to do with all of my slots and getting some proper emotes in there. I want to get a better raid emote, for example, and so on and so forth. Some of our fine friends who are part of the, I guess, the 2022 start stream team. That sounds like a dream team, but it's more of a stream team. Anyway, some of them have gone with like an image or a brand. That's not the, I wouldn't say overhauls, not the way I'm looking at it. A brand announcement. They have a look and a style. And every piece of advice I keep hearing is to not worry about it until you know who you are and what you want to be. And I haven't the foggiest. Kind of like you do you, but until you figure out who you is, it's not so helpful. So we're just kind of floating along with a little bit of this, that, and the other things. Trying a bit of what works, seeing what doesn't. So if there's anything people think is absolutely disgusting, please let me know. Or if there's something specific you would like to see, please let me know. But you may be relieved, those of you in a gazillion different Discords may be relieved to know I do not have a Discord. So if you want to get hold of me, probably the easiest way is to either tag me in Dadcraft73's Discord 73, because this is his Patreon server. Or you can always tag me via Twitter, or even just drop the underscore and hit me up at gmail.com. So yeah, a few ways to get hold of it. Hey, Firepower! Welcome aboard! Late Mankey Raid. Does that mean that you've been lurking? Welcome back, if so. Otherwise, good to see you this evening. It's mildly amusing, actually. This month, or well, within the last 30 days, has been a really different month for me because I'm getting a few more followers. Like, the rate of follow is actually a little higher than usual, which is quite a good feeling. But in any case, more importantly, it's amusing when I sometimes look up people to kind of go, okay, are these quality follows, or are they somebody that I might have to keep an eye on because whoever they all follow in turn is sus, and is it just a matter of time before I get bit, kind of thing? A little bit of paranoia never hurts every once in a while. Any case, and it's kind of a surprise to sit down and say, oh my goodness, I'm getting followed by people that have, like, followers in the multiple thousands or followers in the multiple hundreds, and I'm thinking, wow, I might actually party and open up a bottle of adult beverage to celebrate when I hit 100. Like, it's just one of those sorts of things, because I would play the games anyways, so to have friends to share it with is just a treat and a pleasure on top of that. Yep, family time is totally worth it. It's actually funny because my evening streams mostly don't happen unless we're at home. So this is going to sound weird, but my kids don't actually get unlimited game time. We actually have more hours of game time for our kids than a lot of families do. But what actually happens is that our kids are not allowed to use their computers for anything game related, except at what we call electronics time, just because it used to be only games they wanted to play. And now they go use their tablet or their laptops and play games before dinner for a couple of hours. Or, like today, we let them have a little bit extra time. So most of my streaming during the week in the mornings is while they're at school. And if it's in the evenings, it's because they're at home and they're actually doing their own gaming thing, so that they're just generally not interested in what mom's up to or having mom's interaction. That works well for me. And that's where some of these are coming from. My kids do have soccer a couple of days a week. That's why I don't have streams throughout the week in the evenings. And then once a week, of course, we do scouting stuff, and that means that weekends aren't necessarily great regular scheduled slots either. There are exceptions to that, though. Dadcraft73 players who choose to stream have for a few months, actually, I guess we're moving on month 6 now, decided that once a month they were going to try and have themselves our own version of a stream weekend. It's a bit of a janky stream weekend just because we're not all on one server. The handoffs are kind of weird, and everybody's got their own style of project to work on, as those sorts of stream weekends usually do. And this one is the 20... Oh, whatever the end of the month is. 26th, 27th? I'm not sure off the top of my head. PP Zerk might be able to know. Whatever the last Saturday and Sunday is in June. And so that's when I usually do a weekend stream. I don't usually do out-of-band weekend streams. I guess the only other exception was if there's a group event. But we do have other streamers from that crew who will often stream on weekend as their normal slot. So in which case we just let them take care of sort of hosting the stream for the whole weekend event. But stream weekends we each do our own and then hand off. 25th and 26th. Excellent. So one of the things that I used to angle for and just got too busy is we don't yet have ourselves a generic, generic poster we use where we just announce the dates and then figure out our specifics later. We often wait till everybody's signed up for a slot before we release the poster, which is usually about a week, maybe 2 weeks before the actual date. So I haven't signed up yet because I wasn't sure what we're going to be doing this weekend. My daughter's birthday is in early July, and so we want to see if maybe we need to hold her party early just so that she actually has a chance of having school friends be able to attend. Because, of course, once school's out at the end of June in the Northern Hemisphere, there's just no chance of getting people to come to your party, or at least reliably come to your party, unless you've invited them well or ahead of time. But the problem is, she also, birthday backs onto, in our city, which is, I'll be upfront, is Calgary, Alberta, Western Canada. We're kind of well known for our greatest outdoor show on Earth. Kind of, I would say, hesitate. It's not a circus, even though the terminology makes it sound like it. But they call it the Calgary Stampede. Bit of a rodeo, country fair kind of thing. and that's when that's her birthday, which is, people often say, well, I've got this or that or the other Stampede event. Yeah, Ross, if you streamed, you would so get trolled. You totally would. On the other hand, that's not to say that there aren't several of us who wouldn't welcome you as a guest on our streams at some point in time if you so desired. And that is why you don't stream. Okay, this is why we troll Ross rather heavily when there is a server community event on the Bedrock server she plays on, because she's not the one hosting the stream in that case, but attending a group event, we bother her, pick on her a lot. Though I will admit, Ross, I still have a horse that lives attached to a post in the Nether because I did a test run trying to get a horse through the portal, and it was very unsuccessful. So the second one, which I actually got from the Zerks, I left it in there because I can't get it through the portal. Yeah. And it also doesn't have a name because I was afraid to name it something like Bojangles, you know. That's just a cursed name in the first place. So to fill people in, I was involved in this story, which is part of why I don't have a problem telling it. Oh shoot, that was not what I intended to do. So long story made short, we were doing an event where we got together to do a whole bunch of Woodland Mansion clearouts, and some of us, myself included, don't have elytra and or more commonly refuse to fly in the Nether. To each their own. In any case, so we had a bunch of horses. The Zerks had kindly saddled up for us and prepped and everything. And as a result of some hoofera at the end, when we were trying to put them, we were trying to line them all up near one of the portals, I couldn't find my lead. Somebody else kindly had put a lead on my horse, and I didn't know that was the case. By the time I found the lead, I couldn't get it onto the horse, which was confusing me mightily. And Ross, I think she was trying to help, but in any case, we were trying to get this thing out of the way and move it, because it happened to be where we wanted to go. And, well, somebody, I don't know who was first, whether it was me or her, but we hit the horse. And I think Ross actually just got the last hit in by mistake. But in any case, once the horse was well and truly gone, we, on the overworld side, built a little memorial, and I don't know if somebody named it or whatever it was, but anyways, we had a picture with all of us standing there with our heads bowed and everything because we had off the horse. So yeah. Poor horse, but that's the end of that one. Not a happy horsey camper anymore. So yeah, after my test horse failed to get through the portal successfully, and I have suspicion that's probably related to the same problem I had before with the horse, then yeah, I decided that was not a wise move on my part to be trying to shove horses through portals. That's my part of the story. Yeah, Ross was not impressed because she was doing it wasn't me! It really wasn't me! And I don't think she started it. I don't think she got most of the hits in. I think she just accidentally ended it. So, yeah. Not entirely to blame, but I'll admit, I was so confused with whatever was going on at that point that I had no idea if it was me that had to hit the horse to start with, or whatever happened. But in any case, yeah, horse was deceased, and we razzed her for days. We still razz one of our other friend streamers, Carnage Joe, who plays on Dadcraft's Bedrock server, because I think between her and her her base mate from the server, they're on, is it round 3 or round 4 now, with having horses named Bojangles bite the biscuit, as in every one of them gets either accidentally hit or mysteriously let out and then hit as they're trying to corral it back in or whatever. And so yeah, and it's become a running gag that when she's asked for suggestions for names for things, they're like, well, you're not going to name it Bojangles, are you? I don't think she's going to live that one down. Parental agreement. So every time she offs a Bojangles, you're the filly stable, so she can get a new one. Well, thank you very much for coming in, Manky Hamster. Hope to see you again soon. I hope you get some well-deserved sleep. Yes, you're on the other side of the pond, so I really hope you have a good one, and enjoy your weekend. We shall see you again soon. So, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I think I may have picked up the odd friend like Manky Hamster, or follower, sorry. I guess there's not much difference, really. From the Across the Pond crew, because it's a weekend, right? Like, you can do that on a weekend. There's more people that are willing to stay up on a weekend. Like, for example, it's Friday for me, Saturday for Carnage Joe, but in my time zone, she starts streaming at 11 p.m. and runs till 1 a.m. I figure, it's Friday. I can stay up as late as I want. Not always the case, but I did a midweek one. I shouldn't have, but I did a midweek stay up a couple weeks ago that I regret because it was, let's just say I saw the sun coming up. Wasn't quite, go out and have a morning stretch type of level of sun, but yeah, the sun was very definitely up by the time I went to bed. I'm fairly certain Fantastic Sherlock Fox was well aware of that too. There's different times that we'll have to get up for whatever reason and then discover the other person hasn't come to bed yet. He doesn't usually stay up. It's usually me, but sometimes I'll be headed to bed and not have any clue where he is because he's not there, and then it just turns out he had to get up for some other reason, so yeah. Unless you pulled the wool over my eyes, that's not local to where you are, Manky. Have a great weekend. Yeah, so, as of yet, my horse has no name. And it has no name at all, partly because I can't be bothered to name it, just in case I kill it. But the other thing is, then if I do ever get it through the portal, because I'm living in the savannah, I can kind of stretch the musical song to be riding around in the savannah on a horse with no name. And it does feel good to be out of the rain. However, I'm tired of the Enderman. I'll say that for sure. It's Enderman City down there some days. The stepping into the fog reference is once again a mystery thing. That's just a loose reference to the whole Sherlock Holmes and his pea soup London fog business. So yeah. Like, Endermen are the worst. I know. They're everywhere. And Enderman griefing is fine. Like, I don't have too much issue with it, but I support everybody who wanted it not to happen because the things they choose to move sometimes are the world's most inconvenient pieces. That was actually when I first started doing a bill which no longer exists at my base, but when I first started doing... No, you've got your puffy-eyed, mouth-breathing, allergy-ridden self on the Bedrock server, March. And good evening. I'm not hearing a whole lot of button sounds and redeem sounds, so... well, I got the redeem sounds, but I'm not hearing the hello, so I may have broken that one. Somebody will have to tell me at some point if that stuff ever pipes up. But, yeah. I think they did turn Enderman griefing off. I can totally see, like, I'm saying I didn't have an opinion about it at first because I didn't normally get hit with it. But before they got it turned off, I made a point of making my earlier builds. It was for pajamas, so I mean, it could have been like a giant multi-story statue of pajamas. But there's a reason I made it out of terracotta instead of out of wool. Aside from the shinier sort of silk effect, I really didn't want the risk of dropping something and then have the Enderman pop by, because that's the end of the base I was working at, and just have things disappearing or having dirt blocks stuck in there in weird spots and so on. So I just agreed to heck with this. And then I ended up not deciding I didn't like that that build after all and took it down anyway. But yeah. Well, actually, the worst when I had Enderman running around was when I was trying to do the front end of the train station. The train on the property, because there's, I don't know what it is, but there's a hotspot for Enderman underneath that. You can hear them all over the place. I've lit up and stuff. Where I could, I went in with water buckets, pouring them all around, just so I didn't have to worry about filling all the walls and everything. I had Enderman repeatedly getting stuck in such that it seriously looked like somebody had put an entity of an Enderman head on a block, but it was the real deal, and they were trapped. And so they wouldn't be able to teleport away until I attempted to hit them. So, yeah. They were just annoying, and it was more the sound than anything else. I don't think I put an Enderman sound on as a redeem. I cannot recall at the moment, but it's one of those ones where I would probably having it pop up and go, oh, really? Are you serious? Yeah. Don't like finding dirt in trees. Can't blame you, Ross. I just don't like finding things where they don't belong. But dirt in trees is one of those ones. Because, I mean, the only place you normally see that is if you've got a janky spawn. And you got the weird, like, floating islands or the half-spawned hill and there's a tree stuck into it or something. But, or, I mean, the only other time is if somebody's trying to prank a huge stormy owl with her bird's nests in trees. Filling them full of dirt. That's the only other place you see it. And somebody claimed, you know, what, you had muddy feet, you didn't wipe them off, not my problem. Ah. Eee, bedtime. We're not making a whole lot of progress here. We're at 87, and we started this evening at 88. So I'd better stop drawing and start chopping. We've got efficiency 3 picks going on. And I could do, I don't know. You know what? Maybe let's just go to the other one. I'm going to regret it, but that's okay. If I break it, I'll make another one. This is already version 2 of the pick because I lost the first one. Because I was stupid enough to take it with me when I went to the ill-conceived raid. The bad idea raid. I actually had myself a chuckle the other day at Truly Bedrock's Humble Hills. And I thought, you know, that's perfect to write vertical signs just kind of floating in the middle of nowhere made out of dirt. If I was to prank somebody, I probably would just anonymously start writing messages in the sky in dirt. This is the kind of thing where people would just ask, why? Not that there's anything wrong with it, they just want to know why. And fro, and here we go. If I carry around too many useless picks, of course I'm going to have problems storing items in my inventory. Access here for now. Level? Yeah. Put up there. Random junk. Might as well dump everything while I'm here. I had to cave. Mentioned the other day. Caved a little bit. Not caved as in actually did anything. Caved as in gave in. Because I was running out of Plucker boxes. Wasn't cycling my stuff fast enough back to the base. And so I used my magic kit that somebody left for me of more pieces. Feeling guilty about it though, because I didn't actually do anything to earn them. So yeah. One of those, gotta figure out how to sort out time, get things done so that I can actually do some AFK, hopefully not break the farms. No promises. Oh, random shulker box, why do I have that? Tip one out, and I put it away, then out again. Or okay. Alright. Other thing. I have to keep a minor eye on the time, only in that, just the way I've got my camera set up, I blocked the little clock on my taskbar, and I blocked the section of the uptime thing that I can see. So, Thursday I accidentally went till 20 past the hour, didn't even realize I'd done it. Chicken. It's a bigger project than I originally expected because, I can clear off all this big area, but it really doesn't look like much when I take a look at where the borders are. So maybe, just maybe, at the rate we're going, we'll have this done and ready to roll in time for stream weekend. I'm hoping we'll have more exciting stuff to do in between as well, because I'll need to prep the materials themselves for that art. That art being the large faux stained glass pixel art thing. As I mentioned yesterday, I did actually try and make the thing smaller, as in how I make my patterns for these large art pictures is I've got a website I use called stitchfiddle.com, and you can use them for creating, knitting patterns, knitting and crochet patterns, and cross-stitch patterns, or just throw a graph down on something. So in this one, I tell it that it's got a maximum of 16 colors, and that I just go through the dimensions, like various different dimension scales, to see which one is going to give me the decent quantity of detail based off of the original picture. Like, you upload a picture, and it can turn that into the thing for you. I mean, you also have the option to have a grid and just click each square if you're designing something from scratch, like Dadcraft would with his carrot cross-stitch pattern that he's got. In any case, so I did that, and I tried having it smaller. I tried like 125 even, and it lost a good amount of definition to the. Well, it's gonna be a long way down. It lost a good amount of definition to the character, or to the picture, which meant then that it was just gonna look pretty cheesy. Okay. Probably to terraform the heck out of this later. Because of course it looks like there's a hill that extends beyond the edge of where my frame is. That's what the white wool is for. And if I terraform the whole thing down, I'll be here for months, which is not worth it. I did look at using already flat spaces. A lot of them weren't big enough. Already de-treed spaces. Turns out that the one to the east of me, out that away, being more savanna, actually was a lot more varied terrain, up and down and so forth. So I actually figured it was going to be a little bit more difficult to terraform that one. But the more I get into this, more I wonder if I made the right decision. Unfortunately, I'm already here, so sometimes once you start, you're committed, right? But it's like a straight jacket type of commitment. As in, you can get out of it, but it takes an awful lot of work. I don't even know where I got the term short bus, whatever. I was thinking today about there's a school bus that picks up our kids after school at my kids' school, but it's not for all the kids, it's just for one of the special programs. And maybe that was where the reference was, which is definitely non-PC in these days. Because the kids are awesome. Like, there's some really cool kids in that program, but they just need a little educational assistance, which means that they can't actually be relied upon to take a regular school bus. They actually have to have someone who's got some special training, and to make sure that they get handed off directly to their parent and or caregiver person at the other end, but far more fussy about that than a lot of other kids would be at this age. So that's probably where it came from, was there was... In any case, my kids are already starting to look towards the end of the school year. They're not exactly counting down yet, but they want to be able to not have to get out of bed quite so early, or not have to always have cold lunches. Our school for elementary does not have microwaves or whatever accessible to the kids. My kids don't like mixed foods on the whole. They're still in that semi-deconstructed age. So, I mean, they'll eat some stuff, like pasta at home with some sauce and stuff on it. But you can't just send, like, a classic insulated bottle thermos of, I don't know, what did we have when we grew up in the 80s? Like, noodles and alphagetti or something? Or Chef Boyardee for the win, you know? One of my daughter's friends even takes pizza pockets to, I think they're from Pillsbury. Anyways, take pizza pockets to school, all wrapped up in tinfoil, and then in turn shoved inside a thermos bottle. And I said, well, how did they come out the other end? She goes, well, kind of rubbery and mostly cold. So it makes you kind of wonder, what's the point? I said to my daughter, well, would you eat yours if they were like that? No. So they like to be able to have warm lunches once in a while, even in the summer. Just the opportunity. That, and they also don't like the schools up here. Not all of them, but ours in particular is all on this sort of healthy lunch kick, which is great to some extent. But they used to, when my kids were younger, send home notices where they would tell you, you sent a red food with your child today. I don't mean literally red. It's the red category of food. We would really appreciate it if you didn't do that. You know? And, like, yeah, well, it was my son's birthday, and so I sent him a treat of chocolate brownie in his lunch. Is that a problem? You can't send soda pop with your kids to school. They don't like it if you send chocolate chip cookies. Oatmeal's fine. Raisin's fine. The monster cookies are right out. Apparently, you can get away with it if you send it for morning snack on the Friday because it's a half day of school, so if it wires up the kids, I guess, then it's not really the school's challenge to deal with. You don't have to worry about the kids the rest of the day, they just send them home. So, I'm looking forward to that portion of my kids' life being over for the year, just because then sometimes, like, my kids are not big sweets fans. So what we usually do is, with like Easter candy and Halloween candy and a lot of that sort of stuff, you know, we'll have lunch or whatever, and then we'll say, hey, because we don't have a dessert, we're not really a dessert family, we'll say, would you like to finish up with, you know, a piece of candy from your bin? We're talking like a piece of bubblegum, you know, or like one, maybe two of those little teeny Halloween chocolate bars. But if you send them to school in the kids' lunch, even if your kid is one of the wise ones who does eat their main lunch first and then eat candy later, school will still send you home a little notice saying that you sent red food and please don't send red food. You know, or please don't send candy and snacks with your kids. Like, really? Ah. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. The haha comes from, I just, at the same time I was talking about, or just about to comment on the fact that, ooh, it got dark super fast, and I should have actually gone to bed earlier. But with the rain, I just thought it was foggy. It happened to be the same moment that I noted a lurk, where someone slips into the fog, so I just thought that was cute. Oh, it stay up too long. Far too long. Oh. Ooh, Wall of Fire, okay. Did you get that reference? You're older than I thought. I don't mind them at a distance. Close up, not so much. Alright, where were we? Three. to boil it down, I guess. Order down there, okay. With the trees, or with the terraforming. I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment. When I do art, or art, I like it to be flat, but I thought about doing it as whole blocks. This time maybe just do it vertical, because it's sort of stained glass window kind of theme. Problem with that, though, is I actually did a rough stack up of I think it was scaffolding and then wool across the top, just to see how big this thing would be. And it would probably be, give you guys a ballpark idea, it would probably be approximately 3 times the height of the Egyptian statues we did. Therefore, I decided that it was probably a better plan to lay them down rather than stand them up. I mean, bonus is that it saves on materials, because I can use carpets instead of full wool blocks. But definitely would have been a little on the large side. I mean, people like Zerk flying around, last thing he really wants to do is accidentally come upon a great big multicolored wall right in his face. As funny as that would be just once. But it'd be once and only once, and I'd regret it ever after if I had heard Zerk went splat straight into a wool wall of my making. Yes. Itchy nose, there we go. Itchy on the top, sorry. You're more than welcome. Now, are we talking about making a wall that Zerk would crash into, or is it terraforming downwards? I probably should just actually consider blowing this up. That would have made a lot more sense. Zerk splatting into random walls. Well, it's kind of funny to me because he had said for sure that he really wanted to get me into Elytra. And I think I'm making all kinds of excuses not to, or because I'd crash into the wall left, right, and center. Oh, whoops. You want it? Here, you can have that little guy. There we go. Pro flying stress. Yeah, you probably wouldn't crash into the wall. I'd probably crash into the wall a lot. I wouldn't even have to be flying to do it. So maybe just for Zerk, maybe once, to celebrate the end of the season right before reset. I'll do a bit of a stream where it'll be Dylan borrows a set of Elytra and tries to learn to fly. No? Loads of derps for that one. It would be more than toenails needed to save me from falling my face in those situations. Can't wait to get back on Java. We've got so many plans still. You know what's interesting? I love the way that you have a gazillion plans, Ross, because I would love to have more plans than I can shake a stick at. I have some plans, but not a lot that I can bring into fruition just because I don't know how. But that said, every once in a while I'll make a plan, and next thing I know, a variation of said plan mysteriously pops up on Bedrock, courtesy of Arch, and most of the time I have no idea how that timing eerily happens, because very rarely would I have said anything about an idea. I used to think I was the idea machine. I mean, that's what, last season, Batkratz and his work truck initially was part of some comment he'd made, and I joked that he could start a service work truck and just make things for other people. And lo and behold, that's exactly what he did. Get out of my head! See, what you don't know, Arch, is the Canadians are all a really bad hoser offshoot of the Borg, and we're all inside each other's heads. Actually, sorry, being Canadian completely reminds me of something random I saw today. I was trying to catch up on Twitter, and this is very random, but it amuses me that the French, how this plays, back it up one step. So Canada's 2 official languages are English and French because nobody could decide who was really going to own the country, the English or the French. So they made, in essence, a partnership. Nobody can really explain Quebec. I don't even think Quebec can explain Quebec, but neither here nor there. In any case, so it was extra funny to me when I was aware that France has decided that over the years they're going to regulate their language to high heaven. Not just like, BBC English, as these are the official terminologies on television kind of thing. But France actually has a department in the government whose job it is to regulate what words are supposed to be used as part of the French language. It's very much not an organic language in the way that, say, English is a relatively organic language because we steal from everybody. But, yeah, I guess that's the best example I can think of. In any case, so the French have actually decided to outlaw some English words because they want to keep their language pure. But of all the things to outlaw, two of the ones that have popped up is they're outlawing the term esports and the term streamer and streaming. Now, you can refer to streaming when you're talking about, water is streaming its way down a hill or whatever. Like, they have French terminology for that, but basically they just have a long-winded sentence that says the same thing. And when it comes to esports, they actually would it's okay to use the long-winded descriptor phrase that the French already have to explain what an esport is, but they actually do not let you use the term esports. In the same way, many, many years ago, they apparently officially outlawed the English term lunch and luncheon. To go for luncheon or to eat your lunch. That's why they have, that's part of why the French play into the ridiculous misusage or confused usage of the terms dinner and supper. Because in parts of Canada, for example, the French have adopted lunch in such a way that you get le lunch. That sounds weird, but truthfully, le lunch. And that is not an official usable term in France. Therefore, when traveling, a lot of the French, particularly in restaurants and stuff, will not answer for that sort of thing. So you can't ask about the lunch menu. In their world, there is no such thing as a lunch menu. Yeah, that is really odd. I don't know why they do that. Well, let me just see if I can find. I had it on my screen. Where did I put it? Latest tweets. Christine Frog had it earlier. There it is. So, streamer is just now un joueur en direct, so a direct player. Okay, sure. And esports is jeu vidéo de compétition. Pardon my accent, because I know I'm terrible at it. But basically, a competitive video game. Esports isn't a thing, it's a competitive video game. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about who it is that gets their nose in a knot enough that they honestly campaigned with the government to create such a ridiculous department. Me. It is a little weird, yeah. English butchers accents from around the world rather badly. But also when we have our localized Englishes, we do that as well. Canadian English is terrible. Sometimes we sound like parts of the US, sometimes we don't. Depending on where you are in Canada, they actually will say the same word differently. I wish I had an example off the top of my head, but a lot of it has to do with proximity to Quebec, or proximity to highly French parts of the country. So, yeah. But it's also funny because I was looking at several different web pages I had to deal with recently because I was looking at renewing my police check for my scouting volunteering. And had a chuckle when on one of the pages I had to deal with, they were talking about what country are you from as part of your address. That was separate from our sort of province, or in American websites, state pull-down menu. So our province or state pull-down menu, but in spots where you normally would be asked to put in what your country was, they actually included Quebec as an option. As much as Quebec would like to be their own country, they're not. I mean, they're even less their own country than, say, Thailand. You know, or they're less their own country than Burma. Not Burma, sorry. Creepers. Hong Kong. Like, we know Hong Kong is legally and everything controlled by China and has been for the last 15 years or so. But that's okay. Quebec has some really, really weirdly weird rules. They don't like you to change your name when you get married. It's not a thing. I just find that odd too, but it's okay. Although, I mean, Canada's funny. I'm not sure how it works in other countries, but technically, when you change your name in Canada, it's actually just your birth name, and you've got a legally registered alias that you're allowed to use for everything. But truth is, it's registered, particularly with the tax department, as a legal alias for your birth name. Zerk, when I was referring to pronouncing things differently where you are in the country, sometimes it happens within the province. So, for example, I mean, it happens inside a state too, so don't get me wrong. But most of the time you're dealing with all English. Now, the exception in the US is usually your proximity to the Latin American or Spanish-speaking area, or in parts of like the New Orleans zone, you will get French because there's an odd Creole Acadian down there that I have never heard anywhere else. Even the Acadian on our East Coast isn't the same. But like Ontario is bizarre. So in the English, they'll say things, but then the closer you live to Quebec, even if you have no Quebec background, more likely it is you'll pronounce the English word as though you spoke Quebec French your whole life, even though you've never have. It's really odd, but that's okay. Sometimes I think people are just trying to be pretentious. So. But I have yet, personally, to meet anybody who speaks with a Canadian stereotype accent, unless they're intentionally mocking Bob and Doug McKenzie characters from an old TV series segment called Great White North, where they were sitting around with toques and beers and pretending that everybody says A 60,000 times. Well, it's kind of funny because I was sitting and watching, was it? I don't remember exactly. I think it might have actually been Choir's Life the other day. And my husband said, I think he's from California. And knowing that half the time Fantastic Sherlock Fox is definitely not in the room when I'm watching Choir, I tend to stay up for that a lot more frequently than he does. But I said, yeah, I'm fairly certain he is from California. He goes, you can kind of tell. I said, oh? And I said, well, for one, he sort of sounds Californian. Not quite your stereotype California television show beach accent, but he definitely has that. Something about him is a little different, which is good. I'm sure CK could probably put her finger on it. CK Grapes would be good at that. But there's a Californian element. And then the other thing Rob said, can't remember this. But we started talking later on about fashion. Oh, I know, I was talking about the joke that Rob Reiner had made. But anyways, long story short on that was that, yeah, and he dresses Californian too. And it took me a second to figure out what he meant by that. And something about gentlemen from California, yes, J-Mo is so Californian. He's got more of that stereotype that you would expect, yeah. He wears t-shirts in the Californian way. Whereas Choir has more of the pretentious style of Californian that lets him look good casually in button-down shirts. And just the way they can comb their hair over to the side, and they look now like the stereotype pictures of the Beach Boys from the 60s. I wish. I totally wish that I could be like that. But apparently I'm up here wearing toques and saying A and teaching kids to use a canoe, so, to each their own, and where things are is different. And that's part of why I love traveling. Yes. JMO. Bob and Doe. Bob and Doug McKenzie, yes. They're weird. But it's actually funny. If you're familiar with Bob and Doug McKenzie, Zerk, you were probably somewhat aware of an old TV show that was actually a Canadian thing. I'd be really surprised. But it was originally out of Toronto, and it was called the SCTV, standing for Second City Television. It was a fake TV network. The whole thing was all comedy skits, but it as a fake TV network supposedly putting on these various different incredibly B-roll shows for their local television station. And Bob and Doug McKenzie were actually just two parts of that because I guess these guys a lot of the people on there, like Joe Flaherty and Eugene Levy and blonde, I can't remember what her name is. Anyways, but some of the names that made it bigger in the US later on they had all met each other as a comedy troupe in university in Toronto. And so they had this idea, and they started doing it as little skits and stuff. And then they eventually sold it to literally the local television network in Toronto, who thought this was fantastic. So this thing got made. And very many people don't have any clue what this was. And this is the sort of stuff I grew up on. Kathleen O'Hara, that's the one I was thinking of. Or, I mean, it was, in essence, the birthplace, in terms of television, of John Candy. And there were things with Steve Martin on that show, and Martin Short, that, more Martin Short than anything else, but Martin Short had a character that was totally riffing off of, kind of like Alfalfa from the Little Rascals, way, way before our time, crossed with some very, very odd portrayals of Oliver Twist. So the character got named Oliver Grimley. He showed up in all kinds of crazy skits, doing things, but he was known for having his belt line like up around his armpits, sort of deal. Some people try to claim that SCTV was where the Dorf character that became one of Tim Conway's signature roles was invented on there. I don't believe so. I think Second City took it from Carol Burnett's show, but it's neither here or there. Well, okay, yes. You're right. It was Ed Grimley as the character, but apparently the Oliver Twist run was done first. He played the Oliver Grimley character in lieu of Oliver Twist in that particular skit. And supposedly the execs liked it, so they expanded it out and had Ed Grimley come back as a character over and over and over again. But I think we're kind of joking about what we talk about now when you think of, say, Keanu Reeves, where you can give the Keanu Reeves character any name you want, like Neo, for example, and it's still Keanu Reeves playing Neo. Like, you will not be able to get past that. We unfortunately have a lot of actors like that these days. Some people claim Nicolas Cage is that way. There are people that are just a type of character. Not necessarily typecast per se. It's that people write a character for that kind of actor. The character and the actor mesh up, and the guy accepts the role, and that's that. So it's whoever playing that role. Hey, Benson! Carol Burnett's show was awesome. So, okay, if you're familiar with Carol Burnett, then Benson, pop quiz, really short one. Do you know what the ear tug at the end of the show was for? She's told the story many, many, many times, but I wasn't sure if you were aware. And while I'm waiting to see if Benson will bite, if anybody is into another one, not a comedian, what's her name? Fantastic Sherlock Fox. I showed you that little weird video at lunch, and now I can't remember who was in it. Dame Julie Andrews. If anyone's into that Carol Burnett connection was the two of them were really great friends, and they did several different shows together in later years. But Julie Andrews did a really nice, 35-second little video to tell the Queen that she was quite impressed with the Queen's work, and to say thank you very much, because Queen Elizabeth II has been on her throne apparently 70 years, as this whole Platinum Jubilee is about. To some of the Brits who are pro-monarchy, it's amazing. I mean, for a lot of people, it's just amazing generally. And I support anybody who's managed to keep a title with such a weird schedule for that long, regardless of whether or not I think we need a monarchy. And for those that are anti-monarchy, they're strangely silent right now because they got a wonderful set of bank holidays. So, time off. Yes, it was. You're right on the money, Benson. So, yeah, the ear tug was to basically to say hi on screen to her grandma, because I guess when she told her grandma that she got a show in her own name and was going to be on TV and whatever, and her grandma said she was going to watch, she was, but you got to remember to say hi to me. I can't do that on television. No, we can't be doing that. And they said, okay, well then we'll come up. Like they came up with this little ear tug as a way of her to say hi to her grandma. And then I guess it became a bit of a tradition thing because it was special to Carol. So even after her grandmother passed, that she just kept on doing it, sort of in memory of her grandmother. Yeah. I'm actually only partway through Julie's first autobiography. I haven't made it through the second one yet. I think there was a second one. Somebody told me that, but I've only made it partway through the first one. I was busy reading instead. I don't get a whole lot of time to read, so sometimes I read some weird stuff, but I managed to find a not legal EPUB copy of Dick Van Dyke's biography, so I was reading that instead. Show business bio was a bit of a weird story. Yeah. Well, I mean, Julie Andrews could really ham it up when she wants to, and that's part of how she and Carol hit it off. Because originally, Carol would do that whole thing where the network asked her to do a song and dance number with some certain famous person or whatever. But apparently, she and Julie really quite hit it off, and they would go to lunch together. And I suppose Julie's not that great at doing comedy sketches, never has been, but she's willing to laugh at herself. There was a time, she said, when it used to matter and it used to bother her, but she's many, many decades since that's the case. I mean, I guess you kind of have to throw away all self-concern if you're going to start doing, in your later years, children's programming, because for Julie's Green Room, for example, dealing with, in some cases, Muppets, you really need to not have too much that bothers you by that point in life, or you're going to never make it too far, because you'll be too worried about everybody's review of your work all the time. Best me experience. Yeah, they've done some really neat stuff on YouTube together, or that's been posted on YouTube. I loved Carol Burnett's show. I can't get enough of the syndication. And I mean, part of it is, as much as I malign my dad because he's a bit of a brat in his older years, possibility of mental issues to go with that, like Alzheimer type stuff. We haven't confirmed yet. But anyway, long story made short, is that but I will give him some serious credit for showing me as a kid some of the greats when it comes to comedy, and people that in this day and age, a lot of people say, oh, what a fuddy-duddy for liking those sorts of things. But then when you listen to modern comedians about who their inspiration was, often they lean back to these old ones. So I like, Tim Conway and Harvey Korman, Sid Caesar, and, a lot of those guys. I really quite like their stuff. Was I a fan of some of the 70s television, late 60s and 70s television that came out of it when they tried to take some of their characters more seriously? Like, for example, Dick Van Dyke had his own show, and then they actually tried to make it more serious. And that's where the Dick Van Dyke Show came from, is the more serious part of it. But the thing is, they took a lot of it out in terms of, it was full of gags and things. They're like, well, as a family man, you probably wouldn't be doing this or that or whatever, and they just kind of ruined it. So that's why I like the old Carol Burnett stuff. And some of the stories of where some of the actresses got their ideas, and the pranks they pulled. Oh. If you look it up on YouTube, one of my favorite pranks that was ever pulled on Carol Burnett's show. Actually, I've got 2 stories on that one, but my favorite one is the one where Carol Burnett gets surprised by Leonard Nimoy as Spock, the Star Trek character. Because back in the day, there was a doctor, kind of like Dr. Phil, seems to be a doctor of everything. But in any case, so there's this, or Dr. Oz kind of concept. But Dr. Spock was huge back in the day. So he had advice on parenting. And, Canadian Paul in there. And so one of his sketches, the sketches that Julie did, was about parenting, taking Dr. Spock's advice. And I guess nobody had told her in advance how this punchline was going to go. They just had to stand in. They said, yeah, we'll get it working. And then on live television, doing the sketch, and somebody's supposed to bring the baby, their formula out of the kitchen. So Carol, having this, fake baby or whatever, turns around to go and receive the bottle completed from the person bringing it to her from the kitchen as part of the sketch. Turns around and literally walks like face first into Leonard Nimoy standing there with a baby bottle. And the look on Carol's face when they pulled one over on her like that was just priceless, because she's one of those ones that, like Mick Jagger, looks like she could eat a microphone for breakfast. She's got one of those very large mouths. That she just full chin on the floor type of effect. And that's when she completely lost composure. And those are some of my favorites. Second favorite, I think, is, if you ever get a chance to look it up, Tim Conway and Harvey Korman did a sketch with, where they're in the dentist, and Harvey Korman's character is supposed to get some dental work done, but he needs to have some basically anesthetic freezing put in, like through needles. And we've got Tim Conway's character being the dentist, and all professional and whatever. But one of the best bits is because back in the day they were expected to be able to ad-lib and improvise. So I guess the sketch involved a situation where things go wrong and the dentist accidentally sticks the needle in himself. And supposedly that was partly where the sketch was supposed to end, and I'm sorry, I can't do this. We need to reschedule for another day or whatever. But Tim's like, no. We're going to do this through. I can take this. I got it. Just Harvey, work with me here. We're going to keep the sketch going. And so he's like, I don't know. But of course they rehearsed it. And Tim wasn't going to tell him what he was going to do. But I guess on live TV, he decided to just go with it and run with what would he do next if he kept trying to go home. Yeah, trying to go on with the procedure, except he keeps repeatedly screwing up with the Novocaine, I believe, and like sticking himself in various parts, his knee and then his foot and other things, which is great, right up until the point where the punchline in the whole thing is the patient still sitting there. You can see the actor just losing it completely, while Tim, the dentist, is just taking it one step at a time, sort of thing. The other guy just laughed at himself silly. Well, basically, usually the clips end, and I think the sketch ended when Harvey Korman basically fell out of his chair laughing because Tim had the character have one last mistake with the Novocaine where he accidentally stuck the big needle into the side of his head. And you're kind of going, what would you do after that? But yeah, I really enjoy the old stuff sometimes because when you hear the interviews with the modern comedians, they say they're influenced by the old ones. Not always the stand-ups. I mean, people talk about, your Milton Berles and so on. But sometimes people do things that now is sort of old school. Slapstick comedy is not necessarily a popular thing these days. But when somebody does it, you get famous, more modern characters, people. I guess they were characters in their own way. Such as you got, to some extent, you've got Eddie Murphy, who did some influenced by older people. You've got Jim Carrey. Even I would hesitate to say, but probably would include Robin Williams in that crew. Although Robin Williams was around during some of that stuff, it's a little different. But, yeah. It's funny, though, you would think, with all my chattering on and on, that I don't do anything new. And I'll be honest, I don't actually watch a whole lot of new programs. Not that they're not good, but people talk about various ones in streams, like Dadcraft streams, for example, or whatever else, or they'll say, hey, I've seen the Spider-Man movies, or whatever. I am so behind the times, half the time, a lot of these MCU movies and stuff, Fantastic Sherlock Fox had watched on business trips on the airplane, and then just lightly told me a bit of a synopsis of it when we got home, and I never actually watched it. I have no clue when people talk about that, or I see the posters for it, or the video games, or whatever, and I just don't have a clue. So yeah, we cut cable a few years ago. I don't regret it. On the other hand, I do watch Disney a fair bit, but that's because they've got, I mentioned the other day, they've got other channels involved now, like Star, I think, is one of theirs, and yeah, Star is one of theirs, National Geo is one of theirs. I mean, some of the stuff I'm into, but I'm actually finding I'm watching a little bit of Twitch. I'm watching a good amount of YouTube videos, a little bit of Twitch, maybe more like 12 gigs a month or more. That's not counting my own streaming outwards. So I just took a glance at my watch and realized that I'm running a little overtime. I had originally only planned to stream till the top of the hour, but I mean, this digging rocks thing can get a little, get into a groove, and you just keep going. So I think I'm going to take a pause, now that I actually have to dump things and knock down the stairs anyways. Ooh. But I'm just going to stand up here and put around. There we go. That in the back. I guess we made a little bit of progress. Wasn't a whole lot, but I want to just take a quick pause to say thank you to some of our new friends for dropping in. I know we had Violet WSM and Dancing Koi and Mankey, and I'm actually going to switch over to the end credits, finish off the thank yous, then we shall see if there's somebody interesting to raid. So if I don't see you again this
And now
weekend...
for something completely different.
Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Would you like me to do the Lego build today, or would you prefer me to save it till next week? That's up to you. I'm awake. One last Lego for Sheep Queen. Okay, I'll cave. That Sheep Queen's my daughter. But I will probably at least get myself off the ground and sleep away the night, because I don't want to. He says thank you. Okay, so I didn't realize Sheep Queen, my daughter, was watching. So where are we here? This one. Actually, you know what? I keep forgetting. Leave enough room for the bed with me, so why don't I just build it around the bed? And Zerk, you are not allowed to, not that I would ever expect you would, but you're not allowed to come and, like, obsidian me in while I'm doing this. That would just be evil and rude. I don't consider you an evil, rude person. Oops. Go. Yeah, that ought to be good enough. Alright, so let's head over and do one more Lego. It helps if the Lego scene's actually live. Alright. Lego hype! Lots of Lego hype! Yeah, obsidian. I do have diamond picks, so we're not totally up the creek. Okay, so on this one they want a lovely little 2x6. And then another one of those 2x1s with a couple of holes in it, which I saw over there. There we go. Now we have an interesting semi-custom piece they've built. I've seen a few of these on other places. Last place I saw was a volcano that my son, Star Wars fan kid, had. And that, in this case, just goes on the side, right in behind. But I think they've used them for Volcano Explorers set, and I believe the other one may have had something very similar in Star Wars set for Octo, I believe it was, where Luke was hanging out in one of the last 3 movies. Okay, so we've got the strange shaped piece and a little green block. And we've got a couple of clip pieces. So one wedge out front and a little gray clip to go in the back. Oops, I hope it's actually on camera. Bad habit, I set it to the side. Okay, and then 2 more pieces for Sheep Queen and then we're out. So we've got a short wedge that goes on first, a little overhang, and then a taller one beneath. And there we are. I'm just going to turn the page. Magic little fling. Nope. I think I'll save that for the next spread for tomorrow.
And now for something completely different.
I'm not sure what you just did there. Let me just... This minute. Arch! Arch says, I want more! Don't go yet! Okay, fine. Arch, you get yours. Okay, so this is for Fantastic. Mark that one as complete. There we go. And Arch gets one. All right, so the next spread, we've got a couple little gray pieces on the edge. So one on the outside. Oh, I guess just one. And a little tan block. It's odd considering this is part of a tower, but it's the base of the tower. Okay, we've got the bricks with the little line on the back. You guys can actually see this. I'm impressed. I never really know where the camera placement is because I'm still learning my way around this room spatially. Okay, and we have a 2x1. Clips up top. Now we have an interesting piece. I think this is one of my favorites. Is rather than a little bone, they've got a really good sized bone. Fluffy must be one really hungry dog. I'm curious what kind of animal that would have come from. Okay, then right in the center, next to so we've got a clip that goes upwards one direction, and that little tiny square with a clip on it that goes on top 90 degrees turn. Kind of hard to show on camera. And I have bad habit of pulling it in towards me when I'm looking at something close up. Okay. Square it up if I can. There we go. That's a bit of a weird one. It's got a angle. The one's down below, one's up high. Nice cheap ring. I don't even know what they're doing there. It's a weird shape. So we got okay, well, a couple more little pieces for Arch, and then that's the end of that step, I believe. A group of steps, I suppose. So one more clip. They've got lots of these clips today. And then 3 rather funky curve pieces that go on top of that. So if anybody has any guesses what this is, the base here, like what we're doing the 3 curve pieces for, your guess is as good as mine then. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Must clean up these pieces and sort them. It's going to bug me. Okay. So that is where I think I shall leave it for tonight. Thank you very much, Arch. I'll meet you over at the other screen. We're going to head straight over to the end screen. I'm going to say my goodbyes, and then we'll find someone to raid. And here we are. So, once again, I want to say thank you very much. We had a raid from Mankey Hamster today, and we got some new friends out of that one. We had all 3 of our moderators show up today, with Zerk and PP Zerk being notable. We had Ross drop in, Dub drop by, Wandering Widget drop by, Dancing Koi, Violet, Firepower, Arch, Benson, Niam, and JBT. So we actually had quite the crowd this evening. So thank you very much, everybody, for dropping by. Let's see, who do we have live at the moment? So it looks like being it's a Friday night, we've got Aletha Prime and Stina Rose are live, and they appear to be working together. So I think FSF didn't get mentioned. FSF has a lot of mentions. He mentions himself. Now, Fantastic Sherlock Fox and Arch both were our big point spenders this time. Big spender. So I think we're going to drop in on Stina Rose and wish just everybody the chance. Please do wish her the best. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I myself will be back on Tuesday, but I will be dropping into some streams and see you guys around. Have a great weekend.
Mischief managed.